guys, welcome back to A3's video series Safe and Secure. My name is Alexis.
And I'm Kevin.
How are you doing, Kevin?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Are you being safe?
I'm probably being a little more secure than safe, but yeah, we're staying safe out there.
We are. I like how you did that safe and secure little pun. That was a good one. So this week we talked to an internal employee. We spoke with Jason Czepiga. He hasn't been with A3 for long, almost about a year now, and he's great. He's full of knowledge.
Yeah, Jason.
He's full of it.
Jason is a complete rock star. Yeah, he's like having a networking guru consultant that helps our end users free of charge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's an amazing talent and wealth of knowledge.
Awesome. I'm excited for this video. I think he's great. He's a great guy. So without further ado, here is Safe and Secure with Jason Czepiga.
Jason Czepiga, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great this morning. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Hey, tell us a little bit about you, your background, kind of what you're doing in the networking side of the house.
Okay. My name is Jason Czepiga. I'm a solutions architect here with A3 Communications. In terms of my background, I've been in IT since the early 90s. I started out working in the computer services department of the college that I was going to school at. So I ended up with a degree in communications, which comes in handy, but with a marketable skill in computers when I got out of college. So after that, I started working for a company called Intercom, doing PC support. Ended up at PY and Monarch, food service distributor. And there I moved from the PCs into the networking world. And then after I left there, I just got into the reseller world and kind of moved from servers and things like that over into the networking world and went from there.
I hear you. Yeah, there's no doubt you're one of the smartest people I know on the networking side of the house, no doubt. The networking is so complicated and there's so many different avenues for people to get a hold of your information. Tell me a little bit about like cybersecurity. And I know like cybersecurity can be a ton of different things. It's kind of like back in the day when I used to run safety. Well, what's safety? Is it food safety, playground safety? What kind of safety is it? So tell me a little bit about cybersecurity and some of our threats there.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, there's a lot of different attack vectors. There are a lot of things people are going after. Some of it for, shutting things down, denial of service. A lot of them are going after money these days. So whether it's trying to get the information that you've got or trying to hold your information hostage, ransomware has become a big one these days because they are holding your information hostage and wanting you to pay them to get it back. Yeah,
I don't know if I've told you this or not. I had a secretary that had a ransomware attack on her work computer. Luckily, it didn't get into the network. It was just focused on her computer, and she lost everything. All the files, all the programs, everything that she had put her blood, sweat, and tears in, she lost all of it to ransomware.
Yeah. Well, they started out a few years back where they were doing it more kind of widespread. They were just kind of, spray and pray, just, sending it out there, getting a lot of people, individuals. If it hit businesses, great, but it was really not targeted. And they have since moved to more targeted ransomware because they realize that they're going after people that can pay more money. So they're going after the big corporations. They're going after the cities, the counties, the school districts. People that can, pay some serious money as opposed to, a couple of years back, you'd hear about individuals getting hit and they had to pay $300, $500 to get their data back. Right. And now it's thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're asking for in order to get their, in order to get the key to get your data back.
Right. Now, is there so I pay them, I get my data back. What happens in 2 weeks? Are we seeing recurring me getting hit over and over again, or what's the thought there? Do I actually pay them or not?
Well, there's different people that do different things. From what I was reading, statistically, they say about half of the companies in the U.S. were getting hit with some form of ransomware. Out of those, probably about 3/4 of them had some form of encryption that actually got through. So some data that actually got encrypted. Now, in terms of paying to get it back, I want to say maybe it was 1/4 of the people that had gotten hit were paying to get it back. The other ones were using backups and things like that to restore their data. Because kind of like what you said, I mean, there's no guarantee that you're going to get your data back if you pay. Now, it looked like in most instances they were doing that. But you don't know if you're going to get hit again. You don't know if they're leaving other malware behind or anything along those lines. One article I was reading actually was stating that if you end up paying, you might get your data back, but the cost is actually higher than if you didn't. And some of that's because you're still going to have to go through and wipe those computers. You're still spending a lot of money to go through forensically to figure out where all did it hit, where did it go. I've seen a lot of companies replace entire infrastructure, put in new servers, put in new switches, put in new everything. And then the additional cost for additional pieces of security, because a lot of times once they were hit, they may then find, oh, well, this avenue of attack was just wide open. So they end up buying additional pieces and parts to help fill in those gaps.
So in emergency management, my emergency management background, always talk about redundancy, redundant power, redundant water systems, having backups. What kind of systems or things should I have in place to, I guess, kind of fight or protect or mitigate myself against the ransomware?
Gotcha. Well, it's really a multi-layered approach. So there's not like one silver bullet that you're going to put out there that's going to stop it all. Everybody's got their firewall, and they understand that piece, and that's been around for a long time. And in the newer firewalls, you're going to have anti-malware, which is a good thing to have. That's going to help stop some of that. But now they've layered other pieces onto it. So, there's DNS layer security, so domain name services, which is what turns names like google.com into an IP address for communication purposes. So you can put that in place, which is layered. It can be from multiple vendors. So it doesn't have to be from the same vendor that you get your firewall from. But it can help when that malware tries to go out to a specific website or a specific DNS name to talk to its control server. It can't get there because the DNS level security is stopping it. So there's that. Another big one that people are used to having antivirus, right? So that's been around for a long time, but that's very signature based. I recognize this because I've seen it before. Some of the new advanced endpoint protection that you would put on your workstations, your servers, is actually behavior based. So it would look and say, oh, wait, you're not supposed to be doing that. Why are you doing that? It's not normal for you to scan entire subnets looking for things. It's not normal for you to encrypt this data. And so it can stop it at that point. And so it can stop the spread. So again, it's a multi-layer approach. But one of the biggest things, and it's been this way from the beginning for any type of security, you were talking about physical security, same way. Social engineering is the biggest attack method. They are looking for, hey, I'm sending you this attachment. I'm sending you this link. You, Kevin Wren, hey, this is from Jason Czepiga. Hey, I found this new security thing. Click this link. Open this document. And it'll look like it's coming from me because they've done their research. So they know. They're doing this a lot. They're going out and poring over people's company websites, their staff directories. And they'll send this stuff. And then you look at it, you're busy, right? You knew we were talking about something. You get this email over with an attachment or a link. You click on it, boom, they're in. So it's that social engineering. So another probably big thing you can do to help prevent some of these is education of your staff, your employees. And
yeah, absolutely. We previous employer, we did this training, but then also too, they had worked a system to where internally they would create these clickbait sort of, I guess, emails. And when employees would click on it, it would then send them to the link saying, you shouldn't have clicked on it. Here's the training again, kind of a thing. So just to kind of reinforce that. But the people are very creative. And I would like to think that I'm immune to it. However, I am not. I have caught a gazillion of those things and forwarded them on to IT saying, hey, block this, block this, block this. But I'm not scared to admit they got me not too long ago. It was a financial related. I was expecting an email, and it's like as soon as I clicked it right back off because I went, wait a minute, this isn't completely right. Contacted IT and said, hey, here's what I did. My bad. They went and did all the research and like, hey, it didn't have a chance to upload or it didn't do this. You were able to get in and out fast enough. So, yeah, it's problematic, no doubt.
It is. And they try to make the email address and everything look really, really close. So, it may be, you would have gotten an email from Jason Czepiga at a3communication.com. They'll change one letter and it looks, on quick glance, looks exactly the same. So, and I mean, looking at my spam filter and other things I've gotten through in the past, but I had one that said something and it was from the president of our company here saying, yeah, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. And the spam filter caught it. Now that's another one that one's not even malware. That's just pure social engineering that people are going through. You're talking about security, and they're going through and doing research on your company and finding out who's who, who's your CFO, who's your CEO, who's in accounting, who might have the ability to wire some cash. And then they'll craft these emails to send it to that person that's, not necessarily high up, but they might have the ability to send that money. And it's a quick email from, the president of the company or the CFO that says, hey, we have an emergency. This needs to get paid right now, or we're not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Wire the money from here to here, blah, blah, blah. And people have done it and lost, like I said, thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And with that, the only real way to get around that is education and processes. So you look at that and say, okay, well, when Bob gets that email from the CFO that says this is an emergency, you need to wire this money, that email cannot be sufficient, trigger for them to do that. It needs to be, okay, I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call the CFO, and not using the telephone number that he put in that email saying, oh, by the way, I'm on my home cell. It's this number. And they're so complex in how they go about these. Again, you've got to have the processes in place to stop these. When I was at another company, and this happens a lot too, these people will send in over your website, especially if you're resellers like we are, you'll get these sales requests in. And this particular one, I want to say it was for hard drives or something along those lines, commodity items. And they said, hey, we need 200 of these quoted out. We're going to need them shipped, over here. And it actually had the name of the company that needed them. And on first glance, it had, I looked it up, it had the correct address for that company, had the name of the guy that was the IT director of that company. But while I was looking at that, I noticed that the email address was off by a single letter. And when I started digging into it, the number that they wanted us to call did not match the number on the company's website. So it was that close. And before I had started at that company, they said they had gotten hit before to the tune of maybe $50,000. Because what will happen is they'll put in an order, and then they'll say, oh, by the way, we need it shipped over here to our warehouse, which is this address. Yep. And so once that equipment gets delivered there, it disappears. They go and sell it somewhere overseas or whatever else. So it's gotten crazy.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, where would we go for more information, or how can we contact you if we had further questions or follow up?
Well, there's a lot of information out there. Do quick Google searches and you can see everything from ransomware to regular, network security to the phishing attacks and things like that. So it's a lot about education. I can be reached at J Czepiga. Oh no, there's no way. You're gonna have to put that up on the screen.
Absolutely.
J Czepiga at A3Communications.
Now, is Czepiga spelled just like it sounds?
Oh, absolutely. If you're from Eastern Europe, you might get this completely.
Well,
No.
Hey, thanks for your time today, and I know this has been a helpful for our people out there, and appreciate everything you do for A3, bud.
Glad to be here.